Dear students, in this week we are going to discuss human rights and United Nations, in which we will discuss the role of United Nations in promoting, in protecting human rights. We will also discuss the mechanism which United Nations has made for the implementation of the human rights, as well as the challenges which United Nations faces while implementing human rights in the world. Before taking up this broad topic, I would like to explain the very idea of human rights. Means what are human rights? How these human rights evolved over a period of time. What are the philosophical foundations of this idea of human rights? As you know, human rights are a buzzword in contemporary academic discourse and are universal and global in nature. The idea of human rights is based on Lockean theory of natural rights and Kantian principle of human dignity. Though this idea is very old and its origin can be traced from ancient times, but the need for international standards on human rights was felt in the context of atrocities committed by Hitler on Jews during the Second World War. Therefore, in the post World War II, it became a serious concern for the whole world to stop atrocities committed by state on certain sections of people. Therefore, it was felt to put end to the traditional view that state has full liberty to decide the treatment of its citizens. Thus, the idea of human rights originated from the need to protect the individual against the arbitrary use of state power. This urge to protect human rights was manifested in the UN Charter, which provided under Article 1 that one of the four purposes of the United Nations is the promotion and encouragement of human rights and fundamental freedoms of all without distinction of any race, sex, language, or religion. To achieve the objective of human rights, United Nations adopted Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948, which made human rights as universal, inalienable, and indivisible. This declaration contains almost all important rights, civil, political, economic, and cultural rights, which were not defined in the UN Charter. Though this declaration is non binding in nature, but it has acquired moral and legal status and got recognition under international law as customary law. UDHR was also backed by large number of international and regional conventions, treaties, and conventions on human rights, like International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, and many other interstate and regional agreements are there. At the same time, many supervisory mechanisms and institutions have been created by the UN as well as at the regional and state levels like UN Human Rights Commission, European Court of Human Rights. So we can say that UN has played a key role in the globalization of the idea of human rights. And its declaration, UDHR, serves as a model for numerous international and regional treaties and declarations on human rights. Dear students, before discussing how human rights has evolved, first we will try to understand what is human rights. Dear students, Human rights are those to which a person is entitled simply because he or she is a human being, irrespective of his or her class, community, state, or any other discrimination. In simple terms, human rights are rights shared equally by everyone, regardless of sex, race, rationality, and economic background. These rights are considered necessary for a dignified life. So, human rights are different from other rights like constitutional rights, which are available only to the citizens of a state, whereas human rights are available and applicable to all people. State is the guarantor of other rights and international community is the guarantor of human rights. Human rights have no territorial jurisdiction and they are universal rights. Today, human rights has become a very comprehensive concept which includes almost all categories of rights, be it natural rights, legal rights, economic rights, cultural rights, or developmental rights. So, we can say that human rights are those rights to which all human beings are entitled just because they are human beings. There are few features of human rights. First is universality. Universality means human rights are universal in nature. It means that these rights apply to all individuals, regardless of factors such as nationality, ethnicity, religion, gender, or social. They are inherent to human beings by virtue of their humanity. This universality also implies that human rights are not contingent upon membership in a particular group or society, but are applicable to every person worldwide. Second important feature of human rights is paramountcy. Means human rights are regarded as paramount, supreme principles that take precedence over all other considerations, including cultural norms, religious beliefs, or state laws. They provide a foundational framework for ethical decision making and serve as a benchmark against which the legitimacy of laws, policies, and actions is evaluated. So, in case of a conflict between human rights, will be prioritized as fundamental to the protection of human dignity and well-being. Third feature of human rights is practicability. Means human rights are not merely abstract idea, but practical standards that can and should be implemented in real world context. These rights include both freedoms such as freedom of speech, religion, and assembly, and entitlements such as right to education, health care, good standard of life. Governments, institutions, and individuals have a responsibility to take concrete steps to ensure the realization of human rights through legal protections, policies, programs, and initiatives. The last feature of human rights is enforceability. Means human rights are not effective unless and until they are enforceable. Meaning that there are mechanisms in place to hold violators of human rights accountable and provide remedies for victims of human rights abuses. This includes both domestic and international mechanisms for monitoring, reporting, and addressing violations, as well as avenues for seeking redress and justice. Enforcement mechanisms may include judicial recourse, legislative action, advocacy campaigns, international treaties and conventions, and the work of human rights organizations. So, dear students, these features collectively contribute to the strength, to the effectiveness of human rights as a framework for promoting dignity, equality, and justice for all individuals. By upholding the universality, paramountcy, practicability, and enforceability of human rights principles, societies can work towards creating a world where human rights are respected, protected, and fulfilled for everyone. So, after understanding the concept of human rights, we will try to understand its historical evolution. Dear students, the evolution of human rights discourse is a complex and multifaceted process that has unfolded over centuries, shaped by historical events, philosophical ideas, social movements, and international developments. If we look at ancient period, the concept of rights and justice can be traced back to ancient civilizations such as Mesopotamia, Egypt, Greece, and Rome. Philosophers like Plato and Aristotle discussed the idea of natural law, which contains that there are certain rights which are inherent to human beings by virtue of their existence. Even during the medieval period, ideas about rights and justice were often intertwined with religious beliefs. The Magna Carta, 1215 in England, marked an early milestone in the assertion of rights against monarchy, therefore laid groundwork for further legal and political developments. Enlightenment era. The Enlightenment period of the 17th and 18th centuries saw a resurgence of interest in individual rights and freedoms. Thinkers like Locke, Rousseau, Immanuel Kant articulated ideas about natural rights, social contracts, and the inherent dignity of every human being. These ideas laid the philosophical groundwork for the modern concept of human rights. Revolutions also played an important role in evolving the discourse of human rights. For example, the American Revolution and the French Revolution. These revolutions were very important moments in the history of human rights. Documents such as United States Declaration of Independence and the French Declaration of Rights of Man and of Citizens proclaimed the rights of individuals to liberty, equality, and justice. In the 19th century, there was expansion of rights movement, including the abolition movement, which aims to end slavery, and the women's suffrage movement, which aims to get vote for the women. These movements challenged existing social hierarchies and expanded the notion of who was entitled to rights and protections. Post World War II. Dear students, the post World War II era witnessed a significant shift in global consciousness towards the recognition and promotion of human rights as a central concern in international politics. Several factors were responsible for the emergence of this global consciousness about human rights, like atrocities during World War II. As you know, the unprecedented scale of human suffering and atrocities during World War II, including the Holocaust, the bombing of civilians, and other war crimes, shocked the world and galvanized a collective resolve to prevent such horrors from recurring. Witnessing the widespread violation of human dignity, human rights, it underscored the urgent need for a strong international framework to protect human rights. So, in response to the devastation of the World War II, the United Nations was established in 1945 with the primary objective of maintaining international peace and security. The UN Charter also affirmed faith in the fundamental human rights and the dignity and worth of the human person. Therefore, laid foundation for the organization's commitment to promoting and protecting human rights. The most important milestone was Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which was adopted by the UN General Assembly in 1948. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights represented a landmark moment in the internationalization of human rights. It was drafted in the aftermath of the World War II. The UDHR enshrined a comprehensive set of fundamental rights and freedoms to which all individuals are entitled regardless of race, religion, or nationality. It emphasized on the inherent dignity and equality of all human beings, therefore set a universal standard for human rights protection. Following the adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the United Nations established specialized bodies and mechanisms to promote to protect human rights at the international level. This included the creation of the UN Commission on Human Rights. UN Commission on the Human Rights, now replaced by the UN Human Rights Council, and the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, which play a critical role in monitoring human rights violations. It conducts investigations and providing technical assistance to member states. The post-World War II period also witnessed the emergence of grassroots human rights movements around the world, which were fueled by the growing awareness of rights and injustices. Civil rights movements, women's rights movements, and anti-colonial movements challenged the discriminatory laws and practices and demanded equal rights and freedoms for all individuals. These movements also contributed to the global consciousness for human rights and helped to hold governments accountable for their human rights obligations. So, dear students, the post-World War II era marked an important moment in the history of human rights, while the recognition of human rights as universal, indivisible, and inalienable principles became firmly entrenched in international politics. Despite ongoing challenges and setbacks, the commitment to uphold human rights remains a cornerstone of international communities' efforts to build a more just, peaceful, and inclusive world. Now, dear students, we are going to discuss the philosophical foundations of human rights in order to understand that which philosophers have made contribution to the very idea of human rights and how these philosophers are looking at human rights. Dear students, it is very important to understand the various philosophical theories, various philosophical ideas that have contributed to the conceptualization and justification of human rights. Some of these theories are natural rights theory. This natural rights theory was given by John Locke to reject the idea of divine rights of the king. Natural rights means man is born with certain rights. Other exponents of this theory are Thomas Aquinas, Grotius. It believes that human rights are based on the natural dignity of every human being. These rights are grounded in the idea that certain rights are inherent to human nature and cannot be legitimately violated by the governments or individuals. Second important theory about human rights is social contract theory. Dear students, social contract theory believes that individuals, human beings, enter into a social contract to form a society, to form a government, and establish rules and institutions for their mutual benefit. Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, Rousseau are the prominent exponents of social contract theory. This social contract theory justifies human rights as part of the implicit or explicit social contract, whereby individuals agree to respect each other's rights in exchange for the protection of their own rights. Violations of human rights constitute breaches of the social contract and therefore illegitimate, illegal. Utilitarianism and consequentialism. Utilitarianism and consequentialism are ethical theories of human rights that focus on the consequences of actions in determining their moral worth. Bentham Mill are key exponents of utilitarian ethics. These theories justified human rights on their ability to maximize overall happiness or well being in society. Respecting and protecting human rights leads to positive outcomes for individuals and society as a whole. Another important theory about the human rights is Kantian ethics. Immanuel Kant's ethical framework is based on the concept of duty and the categorical imperative, which holds that moral actions are those that can be universally applied without contradiction. Immanuel Kant is the central figure in Kantian ethics. Kant's human rights are grounded in the principle of respecting the inherent dignity and autonomy of every individual. These rights are moral imperatives that must be upheld universally regardless of circumstances. So, dear students, there are different and diverse philosophical foundations of human rights, reflecting a rich tapestry of ideas and theories that have shaped our understanding of human rights. From the natural rights theory emphasizing inherent human dignity to the social contract theory emphasizing mutual respect and protection, each perspective offers variable insights into the moral and ethical dimensions of human rights. Dear students, there are some critics, some debates surrounding human rights, such as cultural relativism, individualism versus communitarianism, and challenges of implementation, which remind us of the complexities involved in the application of human rights principles in different cultural, social, and political settings. Cultural relativism. Critics argue that human rights may not be universally applicable across different cultures and society, therefore led to debate about cultural relativism versus universalism. Another is debate individualism versus communitarianism. Means debates exist regarding the balance between individual rights and the common good, with communitarian perspective emphasizes on the importance of society and collective well-being, whereas individualism gives more importance, more emphasis on individual. Critics also question the practicability and effectiveness of enforcing human rights in the face of political, economic, and social realities. So, by exploring these philosophical foundations and engaging in critical dialogue and debate, we can deepen our understanding of human rights and work towards ensuring their universal recognition, protection, and realization for all individuals worldwide. In doing so, we uphold the inherent dignity and worth of every human being and strive towards creating a more just, equitable, and compassionate society. So, dear students, in today's lecture, we have seen that the discourse on human rights has evolved over centuries. It was shaped by historical events, philosophical ideas, and social movements. From ancient civilization to the modern period, the concept of human rights has been grounded on principles of inherent dignity, social contract, utilitarianism, and Kantian ethics. While human rights have become a universal and global concern, critics and debates persist, which highlight the complexities of their implementation across diverse cultural, social, and political contexts. Nevertheless, by engaging with these philosophical foundations and addressing challenges, we can continuously strive towards a world where human rights are universally recognized, protected, and realized for all individuals, thereby upholding the dignity and worth of every human being. Thank you.